Atheists are often ascribed all sorts of additional attributes, some deserved, others not. Many of these attributes are used by theists as insults when they shouldn't be, and others are taken by atheists as badges of honour when they are anything but. It's true that for many of us, atheism denotes a process of assessment whereby evidence for and against God is weighed, and on balance God is concluded as unlikely. However, for those who are born into atheism, they've never had to struggle with or overcome an opposing view. For those people who have rationally considered the evidence, the mindset leading to that decision, if not the actual conclusion that there is unlikely to be a God, is often one of scepticism. Scepticism, spelled with a K in the US and C in the UK, is often mistaken for the word cynic, with all of its negative connotations. A cynic is a glass half empty kind of person who sees the bad in every situation. It's incredibly hard to avoid becoming cynical in a world where religion, politics and business have all worked against the ordinary person for so much of history, and seem to be working against the general interest with depressing fervour in America and many other countries at the moment. Religion, in the guise of Ken Ham, Eric Hovind and the Texas Board of Education, an oxymoron if ever there was one, seeks to retard the population by undoing hard-earned education, whilst mostly right-wing politicians and the industries whose cocks they suck literally destroy the planet, whilst at the same time they promote the interests of the weapons, banking, pharmaceutical, penal and oil industries. Recognising that fact is not cynical, it's realism. Cynical is when you believe that it will never get better because such things are in the nature of mankind. Scepticism derives from the Greek word skeptomai, meaning to think or to consider. Scepticism is not taking news headlines or a politician's campaign promises at face value, or accepting the words of an advert that offers no effort weight loss or six-pack abs and a longer penis using this one weird old trick. Scepticism is the con-detection trait of almost all rational adults that tells them that if something appears to be too good to be true, then it probably is. Scepticism is what happens when past experience intersects with effective logic. When someone tells me that a God who supposedly loves me but will torture me forever if I don't love him back, it triggers my scepticism. When I read that Noah managed to corral millions of animals from all over the planet into a boat measuring just 137 by 23 metres, and then repopulated the entire planet from this collection after a global flood, it makes me extremely sceptical. Scepticism is not a negative trait. It is at the heart of all human progress. Selective lack of scepticism, coupled with a powerful dose of confirmation bias, is what enables most theists to accept the irrational claims of their religions. A contrarian is a pantomime fool who simply adopts an opposite position to any proposition placed before him. Oh no, he doesn't. It's a very small step from YouTube skeptic to contrarian, especially when one's scepticism is repeatedly proven correct, or when your IQ is a lot higher than everyone else's. Whilst one may reasonably portray a contrarian as simply playing devil's advocate in some cases, it's all too easy to progress from wanting to stimulate a healthy consideration of opposing points of view, to viewing everything an opponent says as wrong simply because they say it. As atheists, we need to be incredibly mindful of falling into this trap. Just because a theist shows himself incapable of impartial, rational thought on the subject of religion, a belief system indoctrinated since birth, it does not mean that they are incapable of highly rational thought in other areas, although admittedly it does harm their credibility. I am by nature sceptical and increasingly cynical as experience and analysis of global and historical trends suggests a dark future in which the current age is just a momentary, anomalous high point in the existence of civilization. I constantly have to remind myself not to be an arrogant contrarian arsehole, because I know that it only serves to alienate the person I'm having a discussion with, and polarise his opinions regardless of the intellectual merits of an argument. Atheists are frequently accused en masse of being cynics, contrarians and worse. This is a misunderstanding of the atheist's rationale. We are not atheists merely because we are cynical about the evils of the church, or contrarian about God's commandments, or the morality of the Christian majority. We are not even atheists simply because we like a good argument, although many of us do. Most of us are skeptics, and that skepticism has led us to conclusions about the non-existence of God. Whether we look at it from an evolutionary and cosmological perspective, where we recognise the scientific basis for processes that were, in ignorance, once attributed to a creator, or we look at things from a philosophical perspective, examining the incongruity of the claimed nature of God and the actions attributed to him, and the impossibility of a being that exists outside time and space, we have concluded that it is extremely unlikely that there is a God. The fact that this conclusion may place us in conflict with religions that wish to impose themselves on us personally and retard the planet is a mere byproduct of these conclusions. At the same time, the ability to engage in numerous pleasurable activities without guilt or the fear of eternal punishment is not seeking a way of circumventing God's commandments. It's the happy and liberating consequence of an existence in which we do not believe that we are accountable to a small-minded celestial policeman. As atheists, it is our duty, if we care about the emotional health of civilization, to encourage scepticism, whilst avoiding excessive cynicism or contrarianism. For only by encouraging our theistic friends and family to honestly consider the evidence can we ever help them to reach the same conclusions that we have reached. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please take the time to rate and comment, and it would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe. Thank you.